All right, you ready?
I'm super ready. I had a lot of time to think.
Where do we begin with this movie?
I don't know. Let's see.
Let's get it going. All right.
After the stuff.
All right.
Let's go.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Diego and Sam Know Nothing.
Sam, it's 8 a.m. Calm down.
Yeah.
These are not beers. This is coffee. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. I have work.
You got me.
I have work
you
today,
got, you got me.
No.
I did not expect it.
No, we're high energy today.
We are, yeah. If anything, I'm still coming down from energy of last night.
It was a lot. I got home. I thought about a lot of things. Read some stuff.
Huh.
Got some sleep.
Thing is, you watch 3 hours of anything, and that's a lot of information.
A lot has changed.
Ooh, for
A lot
you?
has changed, yeah.
Even from when you left the theater?
Oh, yeah.
So
A lot has changed.
last night, we got into a fan screening of The Batman, thanks to Diego over here. Man,
The movie guy.
it was awesome.
I love starting to be known as the movie guy.
Yeah, you're the
I have
movie
a
guy.
thing.
Yeah,
you
have a thing.
'Cause now people are like, hey, should I watch it? What do you think? Did you see it?
Yeah.
I'm like, look at you coming to me like I
Yeah.
know something. I have no idea.
Can't fire you.
Yeah.
You're the movie
Yeah,
guy.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's cool. That
is cool. So because you're the movie guy, we got to see the Batman a little early, which is nice. And but
Packed
man,
theater,
Yeah.
packed to the brim.
and full of fans, right?
Yeah.
That's the best part. Full of fans. And that's always like my big thing with going to these is you're in the theater and every single person wants to be there and nowhere else.
Exactly.
Right? And that's what makes that screening special.
I haven't been to a fan event.
I haven't, yeah. It's been a while.
Like, it's been a while since I've done a fan. Well, COVID and everything, but
Right,
even before that,
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't do fan events for Marvel movies that I remember.
I can't.
They
No,
never
well,
wanted Marvel movies out earlier.
yeah. DC is.
DC's always
a lot of
did
the
it for Dawn of Justice.
Yeah.
We saw that like a week before.
Yeah. So we have been to a couple of DC ones, but when you go to these fan events, you get cool things like special edition comic books.
That's all I wanted.
Just something, right?
That's all I wanted.
So it is the Long Halloween, but it's special edition.
Yeah, the
Long
cover.
Halloween. Yeah, because obviously it's a little inspired by this movie,
Which
right?
I'm cool with.
So
Saw it,
Already
got in there,
got
packed
pumped.
theater.
yeah, but you walk in, you get the thing, you sit down, you're already
Good seats.
yeah.
We had good seats.
Yeah. It was a good experience.
In our normal row.
So I had a really good time. Just my overall experience going into this theater, which is good because I was set up for success.
Yeah.
For this movie, and then the movie begins.
started.
Does it begin?
I did like when they're like, hey,
Oh,
you have
man.
8 minutes to do whatever
Oh
you
yeah,
want
that's
before
true.
the movie.
That's true. Get ready. It was like look, we know this movie is long. You have 8 minutes to get your life right.
And I
Call
like
who
how-
you need to call. Go to the bathroom. Text your loved ones. You ain't gonna be available for
And I
3
love how
hours.
everybody's like,
Yeah.
should we get up? Should we go to the bathroom?
No one knew what to do. Oh God.
It says 8. Should we?
Yeah.
All right, let's just go. We have 8 minutes. So like everybody in the theater got up, was running in the bathroom. Everybody was laughing in the bathroom. Like it was just a weird
Like we all know what's happening.
Yeah, it was like a
we
weird
know what's up.
experience, yeah.
Which is again, we had no idea what to expect. And then of course they do the little intro with everybody.
I thought that was
Hi,
cool.
I'm so and so, and you know, thank you for coming to the
'Cause
event.
it is special. Like it is an event, regardless of how you look at it.
Absolutely,
And then,
yeah.
and then it got kicked off. That 8 minutes went by.
Whew, man. And you know what? Right off the bat, it's like no intro music. It's
And
like,
that's-
it's
yeah.
like DC logo, and then title card, and then movie.
And I
right?
loved the no music.
I loved it too.
I loved the no music. It set
Yeah.
the tone. It set my expectations
Yeah.
from like, oh, this
instantly.
Yeah.
Instantly, you
Like,
were.
they don't need to- I
you
don't
got
need
the
to hype you
vibe.
up.
You got the vibe of the movie in the first 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Which is again just, I think, proves the filmmaking. What's the right word? Like the skill level that is involved in the making of this movie.
I think the knowledge too.
Absolutely.
I think the knowledge
Absolutely.
of what was happening, what fans wanted, what we wanted.
Yeah, but we can't take that for granted because we think that all the time. Like, why don't they just make a movie that of the character that we all know and love? Why do people change things? Why do people do this? Why do people do that? Why don't they just make a Batman movie? And then in the first 30 seconds, you're like, oh, this is a cool Batman movie.
Let's go.
Yeah. So again, I don't want to take it for granted. This is like people who knew what they were doing.
And that's all we needed.
That's it.
That's all we needed.
That's all we needed.
But it got going. It got quick.
Oh, yeah.
I was super invested.
Every step of the way.
From the start.
Every step of the way.
The characters, as each one was introduced, I was on board with. I was ready to go.
Yeah, and the introductions of everybody is actually really awesome.
Of course, introduction to Batman I thought was really well.
I will say I got a little nervous. I did. I got a little nervous right up front. And I don't know if you know this about me. I don't know if I've said it here. I probably have at some point. I am not a fan of voiceovers at all.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And so we should also put this out here just in case we decide to jump around. This is the most spoiler episode could be. The spoileriest spoiler about. Okay.
Later.
Yeah. Well, because you're like, what's the spoiler or what?
What is
like? What do you do?
Nothing.
There is a couple of things that I think people would.
You could.
Yeah, I think that. So there is a couple where I'm like, oh, I think people would be upset if we said something. So so we'll get there. But just in case we decide to hop around and do stuff.
We will. We have no show.
We don't know super spoilery.
Okay.
If anyone's upset about it.
Once you get the spoiler.
Like a little neon sign.
Yeah.
We just like light up.
Okay. Okay. Good to know.
So I'm not a fan of voiceovers at all. And I get really nervous when they introduce voiceovers in movies because I'm a huge don't tell me, show me guy, right?
Okay.
And the beginning of the movie is Batman doing a voiceover about why the city fears him.
Okay.
You know, right? It's like
mind it.
So
notice.
I didn't mind it either, but I got nervous that we were going to get a voiceover throughout the whole movie.
Oh yeah, that would have been a bummer.
And then, him telling us like how people feel.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, even the club people feared me that night. It's like, dude, I know that. You punched the dude in the face.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell me that.
Yeah.
But the voiceover in the beginning, I admit, was very fitting for what was happening. And again, you probably I would be curious if you took that out because the whole voiceover is and it's like a montage of people that fear the night, right?
Yeah.
When the bat signal goes up, then people fear the shadows. People fear the darkness. And it shows a bunch of instances where people are afraid to go into dark alleys.
Yeah.
Or dark entryways.
Doing whatever they're doing.
Yeah, and so it does at least put a little bit of fear in the criminals. And I do wonder if you took that voiceover away, if we still would understand what's going on without Batman telling us what's happening. I mean, and that's like the biggest thing is I'm like, I still think that you show everybody look up, see the bat signal. They literally go bat signal, darkness, and then they get scared. And I think that's enough. Yeah. But it didn't take me out of the movie. Yeah, I was okay with it. Because then the movie introduces Batman from the shadows. And I really liked. Yeah.
Again, because they did it in a way where you knew it was coming, but it was still satisfying.
Right.
It was still satisfying to see him walk out. Because it took a while.
It did.
It took a while for him to come out.
It did.
You heard noises. You still weren't quite sure. Because the 5 minutes before they were showing and he wasn't coming out. It's like, oh, here he is.
Exactly.
Oh, no,
that's true.
There.
That's true.
And then they showed it. No, I thought it was going to be him, but it wasn't.
Again.
And then they do the subway, and I was like, well, they just screwed with me the past couple, so it's probably not.
So it's probably not him either.
And then you see him, the silhouette come forward, and you're like, okay, cool, this is it. So that's to me why it was so satisfying.
And you know what? It's so funny that I think we all do this, but when we watch a movie trailer, we're always like, oh, I wonder what part of the movie they're showing me, right? And this is the part where he beats the hell out of those clowns. Yeah. And he says, who are you? I'm justice. Right? Or vengeance. I'm sorry. Vengeance. Woo! Skipping ahead. I'm vengeance. And so that happens in the first 5 minutes of the movie. And you're like, cool. because I thought that was gonna be like a big fight later on.
Yeah.
Nope. Right up front, Batman beats the hell out of people. Amazing. Great introduction of the Batman. Right off the bat. And then he sees the bat signal go up, and obviously shit starts to go down.
And I liked all that, but for me, it set up Gotham as a whole.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, this is like a shit town. It's super bad. And that's, well, again, throughout the whole movie, but that's when I realized, like, this is an Arkham Knight.
Yes.
Or an Arkham game.
Yeah.
That's when I realized, and that's when I felt it.
Yeah.
Because they show all the different shots of the city.
Right.
And I didn't know it in that moment, but I was like, oh, this is like...
Yeah, it was sort of like
an Arkham game.
Like, I think in the beginning it was like, this seems familiar. This feels familiar.
Correct. Yeah.
And then you're like, oh.
But by the end of it, I for sure
You're like,
knew. And that was my initial reaction and thought. And that's what I'll tell everybody.
Yeah, that if you like the games, you're going to love this movie.
If you liked the games,
yeah,
you're going to feel at home with this movie.
Right.
And that's how I felt. Not that it's a video game movie, but by the end of it, I'm like, oh, yeah.
And they did such an excellent job building the world. We knew exactly the kind of world that we were in at the end of that.
That's what I loved.
10 minutes.
The city has to be a part of it.
Yeah,
not
the city
not
is
the criminals, not the politicians,
but Gotham is a character.
Buildings,
yeah,
the time of day.
I agree.
All at night.
The whole movie's at night.
That's totally fine.
And
again, Arkham game.
That's what it is. That's what it is. 100%. And so we pretty quickly get into the movie. Pretty quickly
the murders.
We see the Riddler in action, like right up front, right? Yes, we get the Batman introduced, but we get the Riddler introduced right up front as well. And he immediately
hacks a person to death.
Yeah, so you're like, oh, okay, this is a psychopath. Like, instantly understand that this is a psychopath.
I watched an interview of Paul Dano this morning. I'm like, that guy could probably be a real life.
Far, like, if you turn the dial a little.
Super charming, like really, really funny, but he has that like flow about him that is eerie.
Yeah, I mean, again,
like,
I think
he's
that
very like just.
But again, just
flowy and strange, and
goes to show that casting people know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And again, I think you see that throughout. And I know everybody's worried about Robert Pattinson. And
there's no... I don't think there's a problem with that.
There's not a problem. Like,
I think everybody had a right to be...
Sure, yeah.
Everybody... Talking about Batman here, but everyone had a right to Ben Affleck, too.
Absolutely.
Everybody had... Because in the moment when you hear about it...
It's weird.
It is weird.
Right, yeah. Like it does throw people off, yeah.
Again, now that we've seen the movie and we understand what type of movie and what type of Batman it is, it makes sense.
Yeah,
but I
agree.
When we first heard about it, we were expecting something different.
Yeah.
And had it been a different Batman, no, Robert Pattinson would not have fit.
And
as that type of Batman.
And there is never a moment in this movie where I thought I was watching Robert Pattinson. So, and I want to get that out there right away.
Because you never see him.
Because you never see him. You never see him. And it's so awesome.
Again, that was something else I was thinking about. Did they... And I know they didn't, but I'm like, did they do that on purpose? Because they knew it like didn't fit. So like, let's show...
I don't think so.
Let's cover up the whole Pattinson thing and like just show Batman so people don't. Yeah. And I know they didn't.
Yeah, I don't think that was it.
To me, that was a main player in this. Since we're jumping around, they didn't show a lot of Bruce Wayne.
They did not.
And a character I really, 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 really like.
Yeah, and is important.
And is super important, especially I feel like this story in particular.
Yeah,
with the politicians and the city and the money and like Bruce Wayne was a big part of that.
Yeah, the rich people controlling Gotham,
correct.
right?
We don't see that.
Yeah.
So again, that was just like a drive home thought. Like, they just like they knew people weren't gonna like Robert Pattinson, so they couldn't show him a lot. I don't think that's what it was.
I think this story was fleshed out. I mean, it because it doesn't seem like that in the movie.
No, it didn't
right?
seem like they were trying to hide
it seems like they wrote a Batman movie and then they put Robert Pattinson in the Batman suit and he looked like the Batman they wanted.
Fine with.
Yeah, he was a skinnier Batman and he looks
he's 2 years into this gig, his new job.
Yeah, he's like young. Yeah, right.
To me, I got over it pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
Because there's 1,000 different iterations of Batman. There's 1,000 different storylines. There's so many different things. This is just another one of them.
Absolutely.
And I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah.
But again, I do like the character of Bruce Wayne. I think he brings a lot to the table.
And he's important.
I think he's important to this particular storyline if they do continue with it. And that's totally fine that we didn't see him, because I feel like all these other movies, like you said last night, they got a big name actor. They got to show his face.
Right.
But I get so pissed off when there's this huge thing going on and a hero has their mask off or their helmet off.
Yeah. They always do the reveal, right?
Yeah, they like do something to take it off.
He'd be like, Selena, don't.
Yeah.
And takes off his mask. You're like, why did you have to do that?
A time when it really bugged me was in Infinity War when Spider-Man did it.
Yeah, Spider-Man's always pulling his mask off.
And I'm like, this is the biggest, why is your mask off?
Yeah.
Because I know it's an identity thing, whatever. Yeah. Like everybody knows
but he does it to talk, which is so weird. He could talk with it on.
Yeah, Iron Man, like all these people did it. I'm like,
hey, what's going on?
I want to watch the hero right now.
Yeah.
And I love that Batman was Batman.
The whole movie.
I want to see a movie about the Batman.
When he is there's not a moment where he is Batman, like when he's out doing Batman stuff, that he takes his mask off.
No, because you never
would. No. You never would.
When he's talking to because I guess no one knows who he is yet either.
Yeah.
So I guess.
Ooh, I got something to say about that later too. So good.
So no one knows who he is yet, so he can't. Take his...
No one knows who he is yet, oh man, there's certain things about this movie that are, and again, I think we'll get there, but it's just there's perfection in this movie. Like there's a lot of great such good storytelling in this movie, and but to get back onto the Riddler, who also doesn't take his mask off either, right? We don't even see Paul Dano's face until like 2.5 hours into this movie.
The very end.
Amazing.
But he's super scary.
So scary. It's so menacing. So believable.
It's a good take because, like I told you yesterday, I didn't know the Riddler to be a murderer.
Yeah, I didn't either. I haven't read any.
To me, always a goofball.
Like silly is always like
silly, but a mind like he didn't. And I love that he said in the movie, he's like, I don't have physical strength. I only have this.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool. That's Super Riddler.
Yeah.
Because he's not this one is obviously, but he was never a murderer. He was I'm super smart and I'll beat you that way.
I'll manipulate you, right? But we sort of always believe that this, like the way the Riddler was in this movie, we sort of always give that to the Joker, right? Like, we believe the Joker would do this stuff. We don't believe that Riddler would do this. Like, we don't believe the Riddler is at that same level. And this was serial killer stuff.
Yeah, he was.
This was psychopath, serial killer stuff.
Pulling people,
murdering. But again, down the road, when they get into his apartment, you see, he's a psychopath.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's literally insane.
Yeah, he's an insane.
When he's saying Ave Maria in the prison, like I'm like, oh man, this is terrible. It's so scary.
It's
so scary.
They do build. So you are following along with all the things that the Riddler's doing the whole time, and you said it when we got out of the theater that it sort of felt like, again, going back to the Arkham, relations, that it felt like missions, right? Like Batman was like completing a mission.
It's just like one riddle at a time.
So what I really liked is when we get to the point where Riddler is finally in Arkham and Batman's talking to him, is he was like, you thought you were solving my riddles? You were just doing exactly what I needed you to do.
Yeah.
You were the pawn in my game.
Yeah.
And why do you think, because he's like, we did this together, and the Batman's like, we are not together. We did not do this.
Yeah.
Because we did. You did everything I told you to do. You did exactly what I wanted you to do. We did this together. And I was like, yes. So good. So good.
Selena?
You know what? I like Zoe Kravitz a lot.
I thought she looked
and acted
like a super. God, I hate saying it, but like a super comic accurate.
Yeah.
She just looked like what I know Catwoman to be.
And she moves like Cat. Like she moves like what I think Catwoman would move like.
Yeah.
Very limber, like very flowy, right? Because again, like a cat, like she could just hop here, go wherever. And I like, again, testament to the casting in this movie, which I think is spot on, even with Gordon and all.
Yeah, he was very Gordon-y.
And
he's very commish-like.
Very commish-like. And Selena Kyle, played by Zoe Kravitz, I think was just perfect.
Yeah.
And she obviously pulls off her mask, and obviously Batman knows who she is, and so she doesn't need to hide her identity or anything.
She wasn't hiding it.
She wasn't.
She didn't care.
But we got a little bit into her story too, and like there was like this movie is obviously about the Batman. It's about Batman solving the Riddler puzzles, but we get like this little actually sub story about her life and
it
her
wasn't overpowering.
Struggle.
And I was
No,
like,
it wasn't.
Don't make it about.
Yeah, don't make this a Catwoman movie.
And I'm like, oh, now we have to go on a whole separate side mission.
And
I'm like, no. Like,
yeah,
this
I
is
know.
so cool. I like this, but she's like, we got to solve this too.
Yes.
And I'm like,
yes,
damn it.
I thought the same thing. Like,
but they tied it together. They tied their stories about what was happening.
Exactly.
And it just so happened to all take place.
That's what I was gonna say.
In the same place, involving the same people. So I'm like, oh, cool.
Yes, like it felt
not
like
a side mission
at
anymore.
first it felt like in the game when you're like, I'm tired of doing the main storyline, I'm gonna go and do like
I'm gonna go meet somebody on a rooftop
and just do like their thing. That's what it felt like at first, and then you realize, oh, these two stories actually intersect, and it all makes sense,
which is fine.
Absolutely.
Which it is funny that there were a lot of moments, like you said at the beginning, you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of those
like,
moments too.
Oh, okay.
Like, oh yeah.
Oof,
There was a lot of that for me.
Yeah, I was nervous the whole time that this movie was, because it was riding this wave that was so high that the whole time you were expecting it to come crashing down.
It almost did.
Yeah, it did.
It got very like, to me, it kind of got
to that point.
Yeah.
Of like no more wave. But
well, it was so good for so long.
It was so good.
And I'm like, this is great. I love this. And then the third act came, and the flood and all that started happening. And I'm like, this. Now I don't feel like this has anything to do with everything I've been watching.
Right.
It does, because it was a direct result of all the riddles.
It does.
But I'm like, this is not.
After the Riddler gets unmasked and the Batman interrogates him in Arkham, the movie does shift. It absolutely
shifts.
It's
not terrible. It's
not terrible, but it's no longer a thrill. It's no longer like a
detective.
Yeah,
movie.
yeah. Now it's a Batman,
like Batman action movie.
Right. And that is that's different tonally, and it does seem like a little unfitting with the first 2.5 hours of this movie. Right. And so you're like, I just did this whole thing, and like this is the way you're ending it.
Which is fine. Like I guess I get it in these big blockbuster movies. You have to have a big third act.
But and again, I would argue that it wasn't even that big. I mean, I'm sure the set piece was big.
Yes, yeah.
The set piece was huge.
And like the consequences and the
yes.
Again, a lot of like innocent people like
just
flooded and died.
Murdered.
And that's always like what people's big thing is with these movies.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, all these innocent people die and the city gets destroyed. Like it happened here too.
Well, and actually one of the things I really appreciated about this movie is that the Batman actually is losing the whole time.
Yeah, he doesn't gain an inch.
He's not winning at all. And the only time he sort of wins is at the end of the movie when he feels like he's bringing hope to the people instead of fear.
Yeah. But he acknowledges it.
He does.
He's
he
like,
does.
I don't know that any of this is helpful.
Yeah, but like
at the beginning,
the thing is like he doesn't save not one life. You know, like if this were another kind of movie, the bomb wouldn't have gone off. The bullet wouldn't have hit the chest. You know, the guy wouldn't have gotten murdered because Batman would have stepped in at the last second. Mm-hmm. Every person gets murdered. Yeah. And
I love that.
Batman loses the whole time.
I love that.
The bombs go off. The city gets flooded. People drown. People get shot. Like the Batman does not win.
And that's
in
to
this
me,
movie.
He's this early Batman.
He's not good.
He's not. Yeah. Wing flying squirrel suit. I know he's early. Didn't like it. I get it.
Why?
I just didn't like it.
No way.
Because he could have just jumped. Like he could have just jumped. I feel like it was a whole lot of extra.
But
I get it. It's early.
How would he jump?
just fall off the building.
And well, there's another scene where he runs down the building, and I was like,
And I like
he
that.
could have done that.
Yeah, and I thought that was cool because that was just a Batman-y thing to do.
The reason,
and that's cool. I mean, we can't agree on everything.
No,
if that was like the coolest piece of Bat tech. That's like fine.
Well,
but for me, I'm like, you just jumped. But I do like, and you said it like that, he got scared.
Right, I was gonna say
because I'm like, that's cool. He's like, oh, like,
what saved it for me, because I do think it was weird, because he like hits a button, right, and it's like,
yeah, and it's like, to me it was like a flotation device is what it looked like. So I'm like,
yeah, but he does but he goes to the edge of the building, he's like,
yeah, he's like, oh shit.
Because he's running from the cops, right?
Yeah.
When he's trying to escape the precinct. And so he's
and
like...
it's a huge drop!
Yeah, he's like, oh, no.
Yeah.
And so I like that he was scared.
I do too.
Yeah, and then he was like, okay, I got to bust out my wingsuit.
Yeah. And there were a few moments in here, and again, stuff I thought about way later.
Yeah.
Is... I had to remember he's new to this. He doesn't have everything. He doesn't have all the toys, the gadgets, the knowledge. And... towards the end, when the guy, he got blasted by a shotgun, which that stuff is still so hard for me to like comprehend.
It is, yeah.
Because he is early. He shouldn't have full-fledged armor blasting. Like, he just shouldn't.
Yeah.
If like he has a wingsuit, like I don't know. Again, it doesn't matter. So I'm starting to nitpick. That was one of them.
Yeah.
He can take full-fledged gun, like we said it before.
We said it in the trailer. It shows it in the trailer. And
to me, that's not a believable, especially when everything up here is not bulletproof.
Right.
So they're only hitting his body with full-on automatic weapons.
Right.
So to me, I just didn't like that.
I agree.
But the scene towards the end when he's hanging off the edge and the guy's pointing a shotgun at him.
Yeah.
I'm like, he would never like let him even get that close.
Oh, yeah.
Again, he just got blasted by it. So
yeah, he's hurting. Yeah.
But again, that's something
he's about to pass out.
I had to stop myself. I'm like, dude, relax.
He doesn't know what to do in this situation.
Yeah,
maybe he's actually a little bit...
In the moment, I'm like, Batman would never even let him put the barrel in his face.
Batman wouldn't have gotten shot in the first place.
Yeah, he wouldn't have gotten shot. But I'm like...
He's not... Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, sorry.
And you're right. You do have to remember that he's not good at this.
No, he's really not.
He's very sloppy. But there's not a moment where I don't think that was not intentional. Like the filmmaker is like, look, Batman is still learning, and he is sloppy at this because he's getting shot the whole movie.
Yeah.
But to that point, I do wish they would have just had like something in there that showed us like why he's able to get shot by a shotgun. You know, like why?
Same thing. That elevator scene. Just 6-7 guys fully with guns. None of them I know he can't kill Batman. Like, I get it, but to me that's.
But you're right. No, you're right.
Too much.
I would have rather him not have gotten shot at all.
Yeah.
Versus being able to
like
take
getting
all
shot, but taking like handgun fire and knives and like
because he gets shot in the first scene.
And
like when he gets he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna show him being able to take gunfire.
Yeah, and that's cool. He probably can't. It probably is a bulletproof thing.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Take like a shot, point blank.
Yeah, double barrel shotgun.
Boom!
Yeah,
and he gets black. I'm like, whoa.
And it hurts. It does. It does. He's about to pass out, but
I'm like, that's a big gun.
Yeah, and you probably broke some ribs.
But the
there.
Injection of adrenaline
was so
is
awesome.
The most Batman thing I've ever seen.
That was so awesome,
and I loved.
Like he has like this life-saving.
Because he's like, if
only
I ever
use
need
it in case of emergency, right?
And that was to me super Batman.
So if we are gonna nitpick a little bit here, there is one device that the movie uses throughout the movie that immediately when they showed us, I did not like, and that was the video camera contact lens.
Oh, I didn't like it either. Again, it's too early for that.
Way too early for that tech. Way too early for that tech.
Whoa.
And
it's super cool. It's super Batman.
The only thing that I thought they kind of got right was, okay, if he has this tech, like the video quality is not good. So I was like, all right, fine.
That's funny.
Fine. It's not 4K video coming out of that contact lens. Fine. But I'm like, no, come on. Like, what? Why do you have that ability and no other gadgets?
Yeah.
You know, like that's your big, like all your R&D went into that contact lens and then nothing else. I don't like that because it was cheating throughout the movie. Like he was a way for him to cheat. right? So
yeah, I
he
mean,
doesn't.
he had Selena do a lot of his work for him.
Right, and he was able to scan
yeah.
crime scenes and stuff. Like it would
Scan
just
faces.
yeah. You know, and I'm like, it was a device that the movie used that I felt was a little bit cheating.
You know, I've seen that before. Actually, is in the Arkham Knight games.
Yeah,
where you can like
Interesting.
just scan stuff.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it's a contact.
Is it
lens.
year 2 in? No, it's not. I don't think.
I don't think it's a contact lens, but again, it's a video game.
Well,
it's completely different. But where you do the scan and it scans the room.
Yes,
like,
that's
you
true.
Can see, like,
That's
oh,
true.
This
Yeah,
is
yeah,
highlighted. That's highlighted.
Then that's true. But it makes it in the games. It makes it seem like his cowl is like
he's doing it with his
like he has like a bunch of tech in his actual you know, and then and that would be more believable than a contact lens.
Yeah.
If he was like, I need to do stuff, and then he like has a visor come down and then sees things,
which they did in the Dark Knight.
Yeah, but again, it makes sense to be like, I need something external, even if he had a video camera right here.
Yeah,
something
or
that
like
was just
ear.
something.
I know his ears are used for different hearing things that he can do.
Yeah, and later on,
there's
very early,
a lot
but
to do.
That was my issue with it because it was a little too soon. Mm-hmm. It was used in a way that progressed the story forward that I felt was cheating.
Yeah,
and I could have absolutely done it in a more low. He could have done the same thing in a more low tech fashion.
Yeah,
I think it would have been more believable.
Chess piece. Yeah, there's a
bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
a bunch of stuff. Not a contact lens. Just come on, just do something different.
Which is fine. Again, we're early. Batmobile, super early.
Did you like Did you like the reveal of the Batmobile? Because did
it stall?
I don't know. I think it did.
Was it like this really big, powerful thing? It's a V12 Dodge Challenger. I'm sure it was yeah, and then I thought,
but
right?
I didn't know. So nobody laughed in the theater, and I felt like it was a moment where that Matt Reeves was like, I think this is gonna get a chuckle. Like, here we go.
Absolutely not.
And it wasn't, because I think everyone was confused. It wasn't obvious enough, because it could have also been like a...
See, because they could have done the camera him in the car and him been like, oh, shit.
Something
like that, so it was super obvious.
Right.
That it stalled.
But I didn't know.
I was just confused. I was like, oh, did it just stall? I was like, that's...
Because the only other thing I can think of that it did is it was like a made you flinch. Right, like revving and then like kind of like a see what they do, make you flinch, and then they get scared and run. Mm-hmm. And because it's not like the car like shuts off and then he has to like start it up.
He like
again,
goes forward and then stops.
And then he goes. And so I'm like,
I didn't mind.
But that part where he's revving it up and it's like everything's lighting up and the fire's coming out.
I thought it was cool.
I thought it was really cool.
I thought it was cool.
I wish they would have taken that stall part out.
Again, it's like I'm guessing like a Dodge something, because they show the dashboard. So I think it's like a Dodge Challenger from whenever. So it is.
I'm not a car guy, but
I'm not either.
It's obviously a muscle car.
For
it's
sure.
an American-made muscle.
It's like a normal car. It's not a high-tech thing.
Which is also funny because when it happened, I was like, if you have a contact lens, I wonder if you would have an electric car. Nowadays, I wonder if you would do like an electric Batmobile so that you could get to, like, you could take off right away.
Yeah.
Right? That way you have that.
But again,
it's not cool.
Yeah.
It's not cool, but it is high tech.
Drives like a Prius, like the hot,
Gets 60 miles to the gallon on this bad boy.
Gotta drive a lot. But
gotta get to the other side of the city.
But I didn't mind it. I thought it was cool.
The Batmobile is cool.
Yeah.
But the reveal, I feel it was really cool, and then it confused me.
But that's the thing, is I don't know if he did stall or not. Like, we still don't know what the situation was with it. But I liked the suit.
Yeah.
I thought his suit was super cool. Again, early on, I'm gonna keep saying it because it's hard for me to grasp that.
Yeah.
As somebody actually, I'll go into that now. You almost, in my personal opinion, you can't like this movie if you really don't know who Batman is.
Oh, that's a good point.
Like, somebody that's, I know Batman. I saw the George Clooney one back in the day. That's the one I saw.
Yeah.
Can you really, really like this movie with everything that the story's laid out, the characters? I truly enjoyed it because I know a lot about Batman.
Yeah.
I know a lot about the crime families that run Gotham.
Right.
I know a lot about his relationship with Gordon and why they're so close.
Yeah.
And him and Alfred, which I don't like that he was mean to Alfred.
In the very beginning?
Yeah, I don't like that. And again, it has nothing to do with the story. It doesn't move like it has
But he was a
nothing.
punk kid.
I know,
in
but
the
I'm
beginning.
like that. Yeah.
But then
I don't like
But he
that,
comes
you know?
around. He comes around.
But then even right when he woke up in the hospital, he's like, "You lied," and I'm like, "Dude, he could have died.
Yeah, I know.
He could have been like, hey,
There's so.
are you like we're back to normal?" I just didn't like that.
You make a good. Yeah. No, you make a good
So
point.
he gets blasted by a bomb that was meant for him.
Yeah.
Alfred doing his job, opening the mail.
Yeah.
He's out for 3 days, and then
Alfred doing his job.
And then he's like, Bruce is here. Like, I'm all right. Bruce
yeah.
is here.
And he's
then he like immediately starts,
"Hey, you son of a bitch!"
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did you do
And
that?
I get it. He was going through but I'm like, it's like
But in that
I don't
scene,
like that. I don't like that he was like hostile
towards Alfred. You're not my father. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude,
chill.
He fucking raised you.
Yeah.
And again,
chill.
kids are jerks.
Yeah.
Kids are mean. But I don't like that he was mean to him. And then because Alfred's not. Like, he's like,
No, he's not.
You're not my father. He's like, yeah, I'm aware of that.
I do like that we got an Alfred.
Even though I raised you and I did everything,
Yeah.
I sacrificed everything for you.
I'm father adjacent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe that is a nitpick, but like, again, from my history with the characters, like, I don't like that he was mean to him.
I like that. I like the hospital scene only for the sake that we get Batman saying that he felt he would never have fear like that again.
Yeah.
Because he didn't know there was anyone left in the world that he cared that much about.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Which was nice.
Which was a nice thing to be like, because now he realizes what Alfred means to him in that moment.
And maybe that was part of the thing for the next movie. They're close and they're buddies.
He takes Alfred for granted.
Yeah.
And then there's this moment where he's like, oh, Alfred is not going to be around forever.
Yeah, yeah.
And so now I need to appreciate him.
And maybe that's what it was for.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine.
But here is there is a, shoot, I can't remember the name of what you would call this in storytelling, but, a trope.
Okay.
And I hate the waking up in the hospital and your guy's just there. Like, Bruce Wayne he's not there the whole time.
Yeah.
And then Bruce Wayne is there, and then Alfred wakes up. He's like, hey. And I'm like, dude, what are the chances you're going to be there when he wakes up? All they have to do is show Bruce Wayne at home getting a phone call. Hello? I'll be right there. Mm-hmm. You know, he woke up, he asked for you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
But like, he's like, coming too.
Mm-hmm.
Not a nurse around. Nobody there to check him out.
No beeping of machines.
No, nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
Turns around and then just Batman there.
That's all.
I hate you.
Yeah.
That's a storytelling element that I hate.
And even the reason behind that,
it's fine.
Was like one of the things. All right.
Yeah. Yes.
Whatever.
Yes, exactly.
I guess.
It's quick. But it's nitpicky, is what I'm saying. Like, it's very nitpicky.
And I think a lot of this stuff which is great.
Which is good. It's good.
I've been on record. I fucking didn't want to see this movie.
Right.
I really didn't. Like, I just didn't.
And it was not bad.
It was a tough breakup to get over.
Yeah, I know.
And really, I've been unhappy this whole time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still not over this breakup. It's tough.
I've been unhappy this whole time.
It has been tough. And again, because I felt it was too soon.
Yeah.
You break up with your girl and then she's with somebody right away?
I know.
This is a horrible... I've been out of real life too.
It's rough.
I don't want to get into that, but hey, man.
I know. Maybe Ben Affleck wanted to take off his mask too much.
Things happen.
You got to show my face in this movie.
So to me, again, it was all too soon. So from the beginning, with my conspiracy theory, because this was supposed to be Ben Affleck the whole time.
Right.
And again, I
know it was supposed to be DCEU.
I know it was supposed to be DC. Like, it was supposed to be a lot of different things.
Connected.
And it wasn't that. And in the moment when all this had happened, I'm like, cool, don't give a shit.
Right.
Like,
right.
As a fan, as somebody who still wanted the DCEU to succeed at the time in 2017, after all the craziness.
Right.
I still wanted that.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that, and I was mad and bitter and
Right.
childish about it.
Well,
But it was great. This was a good movie.
It was.
It was a good movie. Again, what's next? I mean, I'm assuming they'll continue this.
I'm assuming they will.
There were a lot of things that, or there wasn't a lot of things that I didn't like or disliked or like anything like that. And I told you last night the only thing that I really didn't like was when she said she was going to Bloodhaven.
I know.
I do, like
why bring it up?
Like yeah. And again, maybe they do have plans.
You need to.
Maybe they do have plans.
You need to get off the Nightwing high horse.
I just
get
don't.
off the Nightwing
and
high
I will
horse.
say that. So if they do bring,
you will.
I
You
won't
will.
go watch
You
it.
will.
I won't go watch it.
You absolutely
So for
will.
people that don't know, Nightwing's my favorite superhero, and it was Batman for a long time, like all my whole childhood.
Yeah. Yeah.
As a infant little baby, it was Spider-Man.
Oh.
Grew into to become Batman as a teenager,
And
then as an adult, it was Nightwing.
Dude,
like big time. Like Nightwing, I'm invested in. Like I read his storylines. Nightwing got last year, 2020, recently, Nightwing got a puppy.
Oh.
And I'm like, that was such a cool story. And again, it was insignificant. Like it wasn't a big thing, but like Dick Grayson got a dog.
But you're telling me that if they made, and I know you can't really tell a Nightwing story without telling a Robin story.
No, you have.
Yeah, right. So, but you're telling me that if they come out with a movie called The Nightwing and it's told like this, that you wouldn't be all for it.
Idea.
I feel like
when she said, I don't know, I'll go up. When she said I'll go up north, because that's the first thing she said.
Yeah,
I was like, you motherfuckers. There's only one. There's only one place up north.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of places up north you can go.
Right.
And then she said it. I was like, ah.
But again, maybe it's just a little Easter egg.
It's just a city. Like you said, it's just a city.
It's just a city.
People
live there.
A lot of people live in Bloodhaven.
People live there.
Penguin operated out of Bloodhaven.
Hey,
for a while. Oh my God!
We haven't talked about the Penguin at all. Where are you going? I'm gonna show a. Yeah.
We haven't talked about Penguin at all. That's so funny.
Okay, so when people you read it, you probably read it all the time in headlines. Clickbait. This happens so much.
Yeah.
So and so unrecognizable. We saw it with Jared Leto, right? When he did
yes.
You know,
most notable one recently that's big time has been Lily James.
Lily James is unrecognizable in something?
As Pamela Anderson.
Yeah.
Like that's been the one that's like, oh my God, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Blah 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 was so good, that's been like everywhere still.
That's true. That's a most recent one. Yeah. All right.
What was the Jared Leto one you said?
From House of Gucci?
Oh, yes.
Jared Leto, unrecognizable.
Mm-hmm.
Lily James, unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell is unrecognizable.
That would have been funny to see if they didn't say who the actor was, if anybody could have guessed.
There's absolutely no way.
I really liked him.
I loved
Oswaldo? Oswally?
Yeah.
Like,
Wally. As a Cobblepot?
He wasn't in it a lot, which I thought was great.
Well, and you get the sense that he's sort of, you first think that he's like the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
And even the movie kind of shows him like, oh, he's the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
But he's really just a step to the main bad guy in the movie, which is perfect because that's who he is. He's a goon. He's not.
He's a goon. Yeah.
He's a goon.
Everybody's early on in these days.
Yeah. He has no like.
He doesn't have that. He doesn't have that mentality yet.
No. So at the end of this movie, he gets the idea to start running the show.
I could be in charge.
But you realize, oh, he's really a nobody. He's like a guy
he's just a guy. He's a goon.
Yeah, he's just what's the right word? He's like he's a pawn for Falcone, right? Mm-hmm. Like he's not anything.
And I have no idea what his backstory. Like I don't know.
We don't need to know,
I don't know.
Do we?
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, I don't know, like did he, like, how he became to be
he's like
Penguin. He's, like, scarred
up.
Stuff there.
Yeah.
But that's why I thought of him, because I believe he did do stuff in Bloodhaven. Like, he was a drug transfer between the two cities. So like maybe that's where we'll see.
We don't know why they call him the Penguin.
Yeah,
like, we don't know. Yeah,
it is funny when they made him waddle. I was like, I'm glad they did that.
Dude, he's all
So,
tied
like,
up.
yeah, so like little like nods like that.
Yeah, it's just.
But I mean, he's going to HBO.
Yeah. But
And
again, and
after-
you hear these things, right? Like we heard Peacemaker HBO series, and we're like, what the hell? Same thing. I heard
same thing with Penguin.
Yeah, I had the same thing with Penguin. Why are you making a Penguin show? And then you watch the movie, and you're like, damn.
Could you watch this for 8 episodes?
Colin Farrell? He's so good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch Colin Farrell become a crime lord. I think so.
He's very crime lordy in real life too.
Yeah.
Like he's
someone who's like,
okay, maybe not mob bossy, but very like.
but someone who like you turn the dial a little bit, you're like, I could see you doing that.
You would. Beat
You're like,
somebody
okay,
up.
if someone like made you a little more crazy, I could totally buy it.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal.
He
Again,
did a great
casting,
job.
but nobody in this movie had to have their face shown for any reason, as far as fame goes, right? Like nobody wanted to make this movie to become famous because they don't show their faces.
Yeah.
For hardly any of it, with the
Jeffrey
exception.
Wright's the only. I mean, again, he's
And
a normal,
Zoe Kravitz.
He's a normal guy.
Yeah, Jeffrey Wright's a normal guy.
Yeah.
But Zoe Kravitz shows her face too, but obviously she's not like a masked person.
Yeah.
And I'm like, everybody was a character and they did it so well.
Yeah.
Everyone was perfectly casted. It was phenomenal. I loved it.
It was a fun time. I will say this. I don't know if we're wrapping up or what we're doing.
I want to ask a couple. We'll wrap up the review.
You
and
have
then we'll
questions? Or should I say my big thing?
Well, I want to say the one spoiler thing that I do think people are going to get upset about.
Okay, yeah. So spoiler.
Yeah.
So this was probably my biggest gripe after, again, coming home and thinking about everything. This is the thing I hated the most. I'm assuming we're talking about the same thing, but I hated it.
Really?
I hated it. Mm-hmm.
So
I did. I truly didn't like it.
Really?
Yeah. I think so.
when Riddler's in Arkham,
Yeah. And he talks
and the
to
guy
the
talks,
Joker.
the guy next to him's the Joker, and the Joker's like, "Hey, man, you did such a good job."
And so
Don't be upset.
They weren't a part of it in any way.
Was the joke? No, like
He
were
wasn't
they?
behind any of it, right?
No.
Because I thought he said something. I mean, maybe that's what it was. He's like, "Hey, I thought he said we did a good job," or I thought he said something weird. And I'm like, "Whoa, was."
No.
Okay,
He wasn't pulling
okay,
the
cool,
strings.
cool,
Yeah,
cool,
because
cool.
there is a sense that he's like, I don't know who this guy is, and he's like,
But yeah, so the
Kinda
Joker
tough.
comes in, but again, I don't.
We don't need the Joker.
I don't need.
so
yeah.
why bring him in? Why have that scene at all?
And that's what we said. Maybe it's because like the Batman can't exist without the Joker. Guess what? He can.
He can.
There's so
He can.
many things that you could do, especially in this world
Yeah.
that you've set up.
Right.
So if you do a sequel or 3 movies, what's it called?
Trilogy.
Woo!
It
So
is
if you
early
do,
in the morning.
If you do if you do a trilogy, the Joker I think would be like a cool addition at the end.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
maybe in the 3rd movie, but maybe not even as a main villain.
But if
because you look at like so many different storylines where he's there, but he's not the main villain.
But why bring him up at all then?
Yeah, and maybe you don't need to bring him up at all.
Why have that scene? And we saw it with our friend Rico, and he made a good point. Like that scene was end credits worthy. It wasn't really main story. Like it didn't need to be in the movie.
And you could leave it. Guess what? The Joker lives in Arkham for most of his.
Right.
So maybe you.
Well,
just
he's a
bring it
crazy
up
person.
and he's there. And
Yeah.
you don't bring him up again.
Yeah.
But you could have shown like so many different villains, and I thought they were going to show Calendar Man, so because he's part of the Long Halloween.
Oh, okay.
So if you like know that storyline, the Calendar Man, I don't know if he's the Calendar Man or Calendar Man. I thought they might show him,
As like a.
but again, I don't. I'm
nod
still
to-
guessing this story is the Long Halloween because that took place over like a year. I think it
Well-
was Halloween to Halloween.
and the thing is,
And he was the main, so he was the one Batman would go to Arkham and be like, "Hey, why are these murders happening? Why is it only on holidays? Who's the next? Blah blah blah." So I
Gotcha.
thought maybe he would be the one.
he would do that.
But when it was Joker, I was like, "Yeah, all right."
Why?
Like,
Why?
Whatever.
And you know what? It's not like they call him the Joker. It's not like anything happens. It's just a guy in a cell next
That
to
does
him
laugh.
that's laughing,
Yeah.
and you're like, "Oh, I know who this guy is.
Yeah.
He looks messed up in the face,
gross.
which is again very Arkham game, right?
Very Arkham
like
game.
The Joker
And
looking
that's what
awful.
I did like about the games is the Joker wasn't in he was in a few, but in the last one he was just like a mental thing for Batman.
Yes,
so
yes,
he wasn't physically there; he was in his mind.
Because he dies.
Yeah. So like
Spoiler for the game.
The game starts with him getting cremated, like burnt.
Yeah.
And then throughout the game, he lives in his mind. So he just shows up.
And
at events, and that's what I thought was
driving
really
the
cool.
Batman crazy, right?
Correct.
Which is also an amazing.
Yes, God, the game's
If
great.
Robert Pattinson becomes the Joker at the end of this trilogy,
that would be crazy.
I would tip my hat to Matt Reeves.
Wild.
I'd be like,
super wild.
That great job.
Yeah,
great
that would
job.
Be super crazy. But as going for a sequel, do we? If there is one, which I'm sure there will be, do we just continue where we left off?
Listen,
Or
I
do
know,
we start
I
something
know you're gonna be
completely new?
like, I know you're gonna be like, look, we don't need this. I don't want this.
Well, let's see. Let's see what you got. We have to disagree. Like, we need to disagree.
I want Robin.
Really? Which Robin?
Well, okay.
I mean, if it's early on, it has to be Dick Grayson.
I know.
Like, you can't be Batman for 2 years and jump to Jason Todd.
Well, that's true.
Where was Dick Grayson the whole time?
Right, and I understand that.
Because if he's only been doing this for 2 years, Dick Grayson's still a kid.
Yes.
At this point.
Yes.
Probably still has his parents at this point.
So maybe you do jump 10 years. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe you do, but the thing is, I need the Jason Todd crowbar scene. Like, I need it.
Here under the red hood?
I need it in this tone, in this vibe.
So
I need this.
You've seen Under the Red Hood, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so you want that. Jason Todd gets killed.
Yeah. But
Him and Nightwing team up.
Yes.
Figure out what's going on. Fight Jason
But
Todd,
I understand that.
And it's funny because I almost sent you that scene the other day. So the last scene in this movie where Jason comes up to me, he's like, why haven't you killed him? Like, look what you let him do to me because you won't kill him.
Right. So he gets to kill. He gets to keep killing.
You picked my life over his. You picked his life over my life, and I died because of it. Essentially, he did.
Right. Oh yeah.
Well, that's a big storyline, but
there's a lot that goes into that.
But essentially, and that's what I like about it is Jason Todd's like, I'll kill him if you're not going to do it.
Right. Absolutely.
Because look how many people he's killed, and that
one life for the life of many.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
But the thing that is difficult is how do you get from A, which is this movie, to Z, which is Jason Todd getting beat up without doing the Nightwing story in the middle.
Yeah, because when that moment happens, Dick Grayson's off in Bloodhaven. He's already doing his own thing.
Right.
Well, that event had happened.
Right. Yeah, he's no longer with Batman anymore.
He's not Robin anymore.
And
so do you do a
Nightwing movie in the middle, and then you do Jason Todd getting beat up at the end.
I have no idea.
I just think it's possible.
I have no idea.
I just think it's possible. But in this world. I don't need a Superman. I don't need a Wonder Woman.
Oh, we're not getting any of that.
I just need them to have the Joker
beat a child.
Do Joker stuff. I'll say that. I'll have the Joker do Joker stuff. But that movie is also probably R, right? That movie is rated R.
Man. This movie, and there's a lot of talk around that. This movie would have been a lot cooler if it was rated R.
It would have had more. It would have been more bloody.
It
would have been bloody.
Cause it just it doesn't make the movie better. But this world that we're in, people are using the F word and people are getting their throats slit open.
Right. This is a
rated R movie.
Yeah, it is.
It is. I'm like, again, would it have made it better? I don't know. Does it need to be rated R? No, it doesn't. Would it have been cooler and more exciting? Probably.
Here's the only thing I have to say about the rated R situation. They said, okay, I believe that they made a rated R movie and they
toned it back
to get the PG-13. My issue is that it's writing that line, right? It's barely PG-13 because they didn't have blood and they didn't drop F-bombs,
when
right?
He hacked the guy with the carpet thing. I'm like,
what?
Dude, just do it.
What parent is taking their 13-year-old to this movie?
So let's go over that real quick.
You have to be 18 to watch this damn movie
You're
anyway.
not taking your kid to see.
So,
your young kid.
If adults are going to watch this movie anyway, if that's your main demographic, then why are you not making it R? Yeah. What ticket sales are you worried about with a 3-hour-long movie where somebody beats the hell out of
your 10-year-old sitting through 3 hours?
Not a chance. Not a chance. So I'm like, you should have just made it R because that's the demographic going to this movie anyway.
Listen, I'm not vouching for any young child for Batman to be their favorite superhero.
Yeah, no,
I can't do that.
Tough.
I could do it for Nightwing.
Yeah,
like I could tell a 10 like, hey, this is somebody you want to look up to. This is somebody that deals with like and stuff like that. But I can't do that with Batman anymore.
It's too dark.
Batman doesn't kill people, and he hit the guns and doesn't do any of that.
He's dark,
but he's a dark character. He's a dark character.
Yeah, he is.
So I couldn't vouch for the Spider-Mans. Yes, the Iron Man's. Yes,
sure.
And pretty much any Marvel character. Is for children.
Right. DC
characters are just they're
more adult.
They're more adult, and
they're more adult.
Conversation a million times, and that's totally fine. But you would be. Not a bad parent. I mean, do whatever you want. I don't care.
Yeah.
But this movie is not I don't think a 13-year-old could enjoy this movie.
I don't think
it's about a serial killer.
Right.
He has a man's head in a box of rats.
Yeah.
Waiting to eat his face alive.
Right.
That's not for a younger
So a
audience.
Parent that takes their kid to this movie, I feel like would be doing they'd be like this sometimes, right? Like, ooh, no. Ooh,
and even the kills, all right, they don't show blood, so they can he's still going
Yep.
And there's still somebody being murdered.
There's very intense violence in this movie. And we talked about the very end scene a little bit, and we don't have to get into this, but there's
and that's not
you know, there's a very triggering situation going on here. And again, I feel like as a parent, you'd be like, I don't know if I want my kid to see gun violence.
And it's out there again. And they're like, well, they don't show blood, so it's not
right.
We don't,
and
it's
you're
still appropriate. Listen, there's nothing appropriate about a lot of stuff that was in this movie.
Not at all.
They're dealing drugs in the middle of the club.
Yeah.
Brings a whole silver platter of drugs.
Yes. So then my 13-year-old's going to be like, hey, what's that? And I have to be like, nothing.
It's Eminem's son.
Yeah.
And again, that's why I like this, because it is adult. This is a corrupt city of politicians. Yeah. And they're all when she walks in the club with the contact lens, they're all doing blow there on the thing. They're all doing a whole, and she's like, yo, you want to get it? I'm like, come on, you're doing drugs like that.
Which I'm like,
which is cool,
which is fitting for the movie, and I'm like, fine, you know,
but it is not for a kid. This is not a kid's. This is not a PG-13 movie. Where they're saying
it's not a PG-13.
This is appropriate for anybody over the age of 13.
Right. And again, I'm like, look, I'm not going to judge anyone's parenting because I'm not saying I'm a perfect parent either. And I'm like, but I don't think the drug and sex conversation should be started because your kid watched the Batman.
Yeah.
You know, maybe if you feel like, all right, he's good, it's fine, whatever, I'm good, I'm cool with my 15-year-old, we've already done this, we've already had this, you can go watch it, he's cool, fine. But imagine a 13-year-old sitting in there just by himself.
And I'll say this, having worked at a movie theater for a long time, parents take their kids to rated R movies.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the biggest one that I remember was Deadpool.
Yeah,
kids in droves were going to Deadpool,
which is funny.
Another movie, which is weird, and not young kids, but kids that were not of age, was Annabelle.
Oh,
parents were walking into Annabelle with their kids
to just give them nightmares,
I guess. But I'm like, hey, you're going in.
Let me scar my child.
Yeah, because we had to. You're with your parents, right? Yep. And I would go in, and they would go in, and they would come out.
Yeah.
But those are the two that I remember. Kids are at this movie. Was Deadpool and Annabelle.
That is so funny.
And I don't remember who I talked to about this, but at the time, it was a Marvel movie. They didn't know.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
probably rated
R
for violence. There's probably. Deadpool's a rated R movie.
Yeah, because
Like,
of
it is. Because
blood
of
violence.
Heads
and,
getting chopped off.
Yeah.
And if you want to take your kids, fine. My dad was never like, "Oh, you're only sorry, son." My dad's like, "All right,
Yeah,
cool."
true.
Like it was more of a nudity sex thing.
And again,
That they were like against.
Right,
But like,
right.
yo. And my dad, and I remember, made it clear. He's like, "Hey, movies are fake. All right?
Right,
They're not
absolutely.
real.
My dad, yeah,
None of
same
this
here.
is real. I'm going to take you to watch The Matrix, son."
Hey, we don't like movies because our parents didn't take us to the movie.
Exactly, yeah. So my parents were never like, "Oh, like they just weren't." But there's probably a lot of parents like that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Absolutely.
But there was probably a lot of movies that I'm like, I don't care about this.
And
this could be another movie that if you're not a Batman fan,
right,
you just can't enjoy. But again,
it
doesn't matter.
The point that I want to make is that if there's a scale between PG-13 and rated R, that this is very like teetering on the edge of R.
This could be a rated R.
And so
That's
I'm like,
totally
if you're wondering like, oh, is this a solid PG-13 movie? No, it is not. It is barely not an R movie.
Yeah.
And that's the only point that I'm making is know that going in.
Yeah. Which is important for any parent. Or kid.
Yeah, just if you whatever choice you make, just know going in is barely not rated R.
So did you have questions, or can I make my big?
Oh,
I don't have. It's not a big thing. It's just something I want to say.
Yeah, I was just curious how you felt about.
So the Dark Knight still remains my favorite Batman movie.
That was my question.
And still my favorite movie overall. I think the Dark Knight still had like a huge impact on me, and. Batman's early. Did I say this is early on in his career? But I remember in The Dark Knight when the two explosions happened between Harvey Dent and Rachel ended up dying.
Yeah.
When he's standing in the rubble.
Yeah.
And he's holding the coin.
Right.
Like I always remember that moment.
Like that was heavy.
Guys in the hospital, Joker's on the loose. Like I remember those moments, and there were a lot of moments in here that I'll remember. But like it's just the impact the Dark Knight like had on me at the time.
Yeah.
Seeing it at midnight.
Right.
I don't know. I was in 8th graders. Like remembering that night still.
Yeah.
To this day, like it's still number one.
All right.
The impact on that, the way that everything was in that movie. You know, seeing the kid at the end when Harvey's like, "You get to choose. Do I kill him? Do I kill you?" Like the stakes for me were a lot higher because again he was further in his career, but not even that. Nothing to do with the Batman. The tone of it, like the opening shot, and they're pulling in on the like everything about that movie is still like it is number one for me still.
All right, I'm gonna say some things.
Say
some things.
Yeah, everyone's gonna be different.
I very much so enjoyed this movie more than The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Very much
and
so.
There's a lot of reason to.
And
there's a lot of reason
here's my big thing with it. It is darker, which is what I want from a Batman movie overall.
Of course.
Sure. I actually think this, from a movie making standpoint, that this movie was done better than The Dark Knight. And that's just like storytelling wise.
Yeah.
Right?
Not like a true detective.
It's a true detective story.
Really like.
Yeah, so you could say, okay, let's compare Batmans to Batmans. And okay, as far as like
do that.
The Batmanness better than the Dark Knight Batmanness. You could have that conversation. But I'm coming from let's talk about movie to movie, right? As a movie standpoint,
we have to do
as like a movie versus a movie. If they weren't two Batman movies, which movie did I enjoy more, or did I appreciate more elements of? Which is the Batman. And my biggest gripe with The Dark Knight, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, and I'll say it forever, is the last 30 minutes are
the boats. Are
awful.
That's not everybody's favorite.
Like I hate the last 30 minutes of The Dark Knight.
Is there a good ending towards of a Batman movie?
At least the ending of this Batman movie was like 10 minutes that I didn't like.
Yeah.
Which of a 3-hour-long movie is pretty good.
Is great. And that's why it's going to be... And I think that's where a lot of my like negativity will go away, because there's a lot that this movie just did right.
Way more that it did right than it did wrong.
Yes,
way more.
Exactly. So I'm gonna love that.
But 30 minutes of a 2.5-hour movie is a lot of movie to not enjoy.
Correct. Yeah.
So even if we're just talking percentage-wise here, you could say I enjoyed more of the Batman.
It's a math.
It's a math. Yeah, it's a numbers game. But I enjoyed more of the Batman than I did of the Dark Knight.
I'll never be mad. And I knew that going in. I was like, if anybody fucking says that, and it's fine. Like, it's totally fine, and I never thought I would have that feeling. But I can see why a lot of, like, Batman fans will love this movie.
Like, the appeal of the Batman.
If you don't know who Batman is, I don't see...
It's a good point.
I don't know that
it's
you
a
would
very
like
good
this
point.
movie.
Yeah.
If you like murder mysteries, cool. Maybe you'll like it. It's just a Batman
the thing that
But, like, to me, I get why people are going to like this movie, because I do. We got... the world's greatest detective, and he said it in the movie.
Well, but
which I thought was cool.
But I want to go off your point though, because I don't know that I would call this a superhero movie. Like, I don't know that I would say, like, who does he save really, except those people at the end?
Yeah.
I'm still like, I don't think he does a good job.
No, he's not
Batman,
very good.
Right? He is not a very good
at his job.
He's not a good hero, that's for sure. And
I don't think he's a hero yet.
I don't think he is.
And like Rico said, the ending was to set that up. Like,
exactly.
I can't just be a scary monster in the dark.
Right.
I have to be a symbol of
hope for the people.
I mean, yeah. This is a Superman.
This is a Superman movie.
Yeah. But he's like, I need to.
What's the bat on your chest?
Yeah.
mean?
I need to be a beacon of goodness.
Yeah.
Not just a.
I have to inspire people, not just instill fear in bad guys. Yeah. And so that was that's a very hero realization, right? And so I appreciate that he's not a hero in this movie. I don't know that I would call this a superhero movie. It more than a detective movie.
The Batman movie.
It's a detective.
We can call it the Batman.
It's the Batman movie.
So we're going sequel.
Oh yeah, I think so. I like
my opinions on Robin will change because I have a very strong feeling that's where it's gonna go.
If they continue down this road.
If they continue, I think they almost have to. They don't have to.
They don't have to.
But, I mean, we've never seen.
Have we seen a good
Chris O'Donnell?
Yeah.
Is that his last name? Chris O'Donnell was like Robin.
And so why not? Why not do a good Robin story? Why not have a movie called the Robin doesn't sound good, but why not have a movie called Robin and just tell that story?
You don't want to call it Dick?
Yeah. That would be awesome.
You guys seeing Dick this weekend?
Hey,
call it Richard. I mean, that's his real name.
Yeah. Richard Grayson.
Yeah. Or call it there's a comic series named Grayson.
Yeah, call it Grayson.
That was another thing. But yeah, you could call it Grayson.
But I'm just saying, like, I don't think that it would be a bad idea to take the time to tell the Robin story. That way you don't feel like the Nightwing story is forced.
That's why I'm afraid of it, because DC gets a lot of backlash.
Yeah, so for getting ahead of itself, right?
So it would be a bummer to see my favorite character just like in everybody, like, oh dude, Nightwing sucks, he's so lame, like he's the worst.
Right.
And he'll continue to be my favorite because I'm not basing him off movies, I'm basing him off stories and what I know. But it would now, like, that's, I guess, my fear is that the world would hate this character that I truly love.
Because of the way that they told the story.
Because of the way they told the story.
And I absolutely understand that.
Super, super scary. Again, when it comes down to it.
But if you take your time, then...
Yeah, if you do it right.
Then, well, tell the Robin story, and if people hate that, then it's sort of like...
don't tell the Nightwing
story.
Because I'm not a fan of Dick Grayson's Robin.
Right, me either.
No, and I am. Like, he was cool. He was fine. But, like, I love Jason Todd as Robin or Tim Drake as Robin way more.
Right. Well, but Dick Grayson as Robin is just a stepping stone to get to Nightwing, right?
I love, like
that's the whole thing.
But that story would be cool to see when he's like, hey, you're not the boss of me. Like, I'm a grown-ass man now.
Right.
Like, I'm not your sidekick. He's like, well, you still are, or whatever. And he's like, no, I'll do this on my own then. Like, I don't need you. So that would be cool to see.
Right.
When he, like, he's like, nope, don't need you.
But
I'll do this on my own.
I do think there is a version of the Batman 2 where we don't need to see the up and coming and everything they went through over the last 10 years. Just start the story where they've already been doing it.
Do like a recap.
You could do a 10-minute whatever in the beginning, But you start this movie where they're already at the end of their relationship, right? You start the movie where they're already at odds with each other.
Yeah, they don't get along. They don't want to be together.
And then at the end of the movie, Dick Grayson parts ways with the Batman. And you don't even say the word Nightwing. He leaves. You don't. Yeah. And then your third movie.
And and that's the thing is I'm so at a pass with it because I would love to see it. I love when he comes. So like in Under the Red Hood, when he comes back. And he's like, hey, I'm here to help you out. And he's like, don't need your help. Yeah. And he's like, well, I'm like here. Like they still have that thing where they can't get along. Like
it's still
the father can't accept
that
like, hey, my boy's all grown up, blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, I would love to see that on screen.
But the issue
it's just a fear thing.
I know.
I'll get over it.
No, you're right. And it's justified. I believe. Yeah. I understand.
So real quick, who plays Dick Grayson? I have no fucking idea.
Oh, not a clue. And the thing is, you could get somebody. You can get,
but you gotta get somebody suave and cool and got the hair and the muscles. Because Dick Grayson's been they're like over sexualized female characters for comics, and that was like
and Dick Grayson was
one,
that
like the male version of like, oh, you just try to make him sexy and his ass is sticking out.
Yeah,
and like all his muscles, but like I kind of want that version.
Who's
of Dick Grayson?
Who's High School Musical guy? I always forget.
Zac Efron.
Zac Efron.
See, I never liked that.
Yeah, you could just do Zac. Well, Zac Efron is actually more of a Jason Todd to me.
Yeah, and you could do, but like I want the Dick Grayson that I know is like funny, makes jokes. He's still like a hard hitting. Like you got to have the acrobat aspect built into it.
Yeah, that's why
like a lot of things you have to do because he's like flipping around and he's making jokes and he's like the only one that truly understands why Bruce is like such an asshole and still accepts it.
Yeah, I don't know who would play him, but there's a in this tone there's a story there. I really believe that.
We'll make it happen.
All right.
That's it.
Are you good? You got everything off your chest?
I'm good, yeah.
All right.
I'm sure we missed something. It's 3 hours.
Look, it's a lot. That's what I was saying. Yeah. 3 hours is a lot of information for anybody. And we could be here. We could talk about it for 6 hours. But unfortunately, we do have other things to do with our lives.
Gotta work. I gotta go work a day now.
This is early on for us here. So, The Batman, highly recommend it. It's 3 hours. Doesn't feel like it. It's a good time. I would strongly recommend.
Next up, we have.
I want to see the Atom Project with Ryan Reynolds.
Is that this month?
Yeah, it's March.
Okay,
so we'll do that. Is something else, but I think Atom Project hits streaming in like 2 weeks.
Netflix.
Yeah. So
there's actually a lot of stuff that I noticed the other day.
There's a lot.
I was looking to add on to my February list, and I'm like, oh, there's nothing in February, but then March kicks out.
Yeah.
Hulu, Netflix, HBO Max, things in theaters.
Yep.
I might get to 8-9 movies this month. I'm already at 1. We're on day 2.
Yeah.
But like
you're right. No, you're right. There's a lot coming up now. Now we're getting back into the swing of things. So I'm excited.
Be a lot. I don't know. Excited. We'll see where our lists compare.
That's true.
But I'm gonna I still want to see Moonfall. I'm still gonna add to my list for the year. So
do it.
We'll see how it goes.
All right. That wraps us up. The Batman. Thanks for watching, guys.
Check
Don't forget, like, subscribe if you enjoyed this episode.
Check us out. TikTok.
Across the board.
OnlyFans. It's just pictures of my elbows.
Yeah. Only the good parts. See you later.